Welcome to Wealthy Mind, where we talk about all things finances, the good, the bad, the ugly, and the surprising. Welcome to Wealthy Mind. I am your host, Misty Rose Gold, International Success Coach, and we love helping to create and maintain wealthy minds. Today, I have with me Wendy Watson. Hello, Wendy.
Hello, beautiful. Thank you for having me on.
Yes, and this is such a timely moment to have you in my world, right? This, I think it's timely for each other, but I appreciate the timing of this interview and the conversation we had prior to starting the recording. So thank you.
You're very welcome.
Um, I'm sure our audience is like, what did you two talk about, right? That's for us to know. So would you please tell the audience what it is that you do?
So I help people learn how to love themselves, learn how to love others. I'm a spiritual relationship ambassador. So really what that means is I believe everything is a relationship. And so being in relationship with our vulnerability, with our teenage selves, with our hearts and our minds, and leading and designing our lives based off our principles and our values and our beliefs, and really honing in on that and fine tuning all of those individual relationships.
That's amazing work that you're doing.
Thank you.
There is a deficit of love in our world, and we need to tip those scales. Like, I am 1,000% for love and no more, no more of the too much of the different facets of hate in people, right? So,
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
that is what this world really needs right now to offset a lot of that's happening at the moment, right? So talking about the yin and the yang, and the scales are being played with right now. So let's just focus on the love and loving each other and loving ourselves and making sure
mm,
that side of the scale is higher than the other one.
yeah, definitely. That's the only way we're gonna make it as a society, as human beings. Like, the scale can no longer be heavier on the hate side.
That we've got to stop
Yeah, we do.
as humans. We've just got to stop with all that.
Self-hate, hate of others, hate of life, hate of the divine, hate of money, whatever it is, I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it has to, it has to shift.
Yeah.
And I know that shift is like steps and layers, right? But
Hmm.
it just has to. So,
Yeah.
in the business community,
Yes.
how do you help business owners love themselves or love others?
Right. So a lot of it is just redefining and reclaiming what your relationships are, and breaking through all the habits and the conditionings that we've been taught from point A to where we are right now, and really finding your autonomy and your voice in your own relationships, right? There's our communities, our parents, our friends, they all have an impact on what we believe and how we make choices and all of these things. But I find that a lot of people make those decisions and allow the external voices to be louder than their internal voice. And so, what I really want to help business owners and entrepreneurs do is really, there's a lot of voice coaches and speaker coaches and stuff out there. But what is that internal relationship? with that person, with that thing, with that emotion, with that experience? What is Let's figure out that relationship first while you develop the skill to do what it is, or the strategy to do what it is that you want to do. And let's commingle those and use all of those things together as a team.
Okay. All right. I'm tracking. So
Okay.
it's something that I work on, like as a success coach for business owners, I do business strategy and business psychology. And
Mhm.
always at some point in the journey with my business owners, they have to take a look inward and start loving themselves better and treating themselves better
Mhm.
if they want a smoother ride in the business, if they want more of a cohesive team, if they, whatever, like, so it affects everything. It really affects the bottom line of the company if you want to look at it that way. And I would love from your perspective, how does self-love affect our money?
Oh my gosh, if we don't feel like we're worthy of charging a certain price, then we're never going to ask for the money that we deserve to make.
Mm,
Right? If we, even if we ask for it, if we're not open to receive it, right? We
mm,
have our shields up. It's not really fair to God, spirit, universe, whatever you want to call it, to say, hey, I want this. And then when it delivers it to you, you're like, oh, wait a minute.
yeah,
Now that
go
you're
away.
giving it to me, I don't know that I can handle it.
Yeah.
Right? Or I don't know, like, oh my gosh, I didn't actually expect you to give it to me. All of that has to do with self-love and allowing the gifts that you're asking for, or allowing yourself to be strong enough and courageous enough to ask for what you need,
Mm,
right? And, let's talk about financial loss, right? If we've experienced a financial loss, whether it's liquidating a business or a bankruptcy or anything like that, if we don't process that loss, then we're always going to be in that scarcity or fear mindset. And if you believe that what you focus on is what you manifest, if you're manifesting, or if you're focusing on that scarcity and that fear, all of these other opportunities where you could be receiving or be in abundance is going right by you.
mm. Yep. Yeah, fear is definitely something that puts us on a different track.
Mhm.
And you're going to get opportunities if you're in the fear state, but they're not going to be fulfilling.
They're not going to be fulfilling. They're not going to be as abundant or as large of a project or as peaceful or as aligned as a project,
Hmm.
right? If we're really trying to align all of our business partners and our clients and our employees in alignment with our beliefs and our principles, but we're over here focused on fear, scarcity, imposter syndrome, lack of self-worth,
Mm,
then we're not going to see the ones that are in alignment that we want to receive, which
mm,
means there's a higher increased chance for conflict, for misalignment, misunderstandings, miscommunications, lack of results.
mm. Okay. So, how else do you think that self-love is attached to our bottom line, our dollars, our money?
Loving ourselves enough to really hone in on personal development, personal healing is
Mm,
self-love when it comes to money and entrepreneurship, setting boundaries, even
mm,
financial boundaries, right? Whether it's financial boundaries or time management boundaries or nutritional and exercise boundaries, like all of those play a role. And figuring out what that blend looks like for you and taking care of yourself first, eating the right foods, getting some body movement in, turning your phone off after 8 o'clock or on the weekends or whatever it is.
Mhm.
All of that is self-love because you're setting yourself boundaries so that you can compartmentalize between business and family and kids and your own personal self-care, being in nature or going for hikes or skiing or whatever it is that you do,
Mhm.
right? All of that is self-love. And that helps us to replenish all of our tanks. So on Monday, when we go back to work or whatever day it is, we have the energy and our love tanks all filled so that if something does throw us off kilter, we have the words, we have the energy, we have the mindset that we need to be able to respond in a way that is in alignment with us
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
not in a way that we're punishing ourselves later.
Mm. I love that you said boundaries because that is a very actionable form of self-love that people can wrap their heads around. They're like, okay, cool, self-love, great, but what is it? Boundaries is a huge part of that. And being able to set the boundaries around our time, around our mental health, our emotional health, and being able to be brave enough to love ourselves enough to do that. Like, we just spent a half hour chatting beforehand about my boundaries and how I'm in a specific state of really working on liberating my 12-year-old self from a sex trafficking experience. And here we are, like, I'm setting hardcore boundaries just to protect the time that I have with her
Yeah,
because it's one of those things of if I want to keep moving forward, this is what I do. And
exactly.
it's a commitment, it's a dedication, but boundaries have to shift to meet our priorities.
That's right.
And I really think that people can take a strong look at their lives and how chaotic they are as a simple reflection of the lack of self-love. And the more love that you have for yourself in the right ways, the more willing you are to set the boundaries to protect that because you want your heart open. Once your heart opens, you want it to stay open. And boundaries are the only way to do that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
the only way. So, so many people that I work with, their hearts are shut off, they're shut down completely. And I'm
Mm.
like, cool, let's start setting boundaries so that you can activate the greatest power source that is within you, which is your heart.
Setting boundaries allows you're basically creating a safe harbor for your heart to feel safe and secure. And when the heart feels safe and secure, it's willing to open up and be vulnerable. And that's another form of self-love is when we can love our vulnerability and then use that as a strength, either with our employees or our business partners to say, hey, you know what? I've had a rough day too. I've had those moments. I'm going to send you some love right now, or let's talk about it so that you can now be more productive and less distracted from what you're trying to do.
Mhm. Yeah, vulnerability is so key, even with ourselves, right? So
Mhm.
let's just say, for example, in my life, in my business right now, the boundaries that I am setting and the boundaries that I have to set to protect where I'm at, if I don't do that, my world will slip into chaos. And if I slip into chaos, guess what? My clients are not going to get from me what they need because everything that I deliver to my clients comes from a place of inner peace because it gives me mental clarity. And how am I really showing up for my clients if I'm in the same state of chaos that they're in? Like, I
Right.
can't. It
You
doesn't
can't.
work.
Right.
Just does not work.
Your work with them is going to be less effective and inefficient. And then there's a tendency to then bring in other clients that are less aligned, that are in the same state that you're in, which means you're bringing in clients that are then going to create more conflict. And that ball just kind of rolls downhill.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to maintain that, like once you've achieved it, then it's about maintaining that space and holding that space for yourself so that you don't go back down that rabbit hole.
Yep, that's the battle I've been facing my entire adult life is, you know, I found inner peace very early on in my early 20s, and you got to fight for it.
You do?
So I refuse to move forward with anything but inner peace and fulfillment. If I can't do it with those two things, what's the point?
Exactly. I will
And the
never forget the day when my parents told me I was difficult.
mm,
And then I sat back a little bit and I was like, difficult. And I realized that because they have no boundaries, they say
uh,
yes to everything.
yes.
And I realized they were finding me difficult because I had boundaries,
Hmm.
but they have chaos, they have lack of money,
Hmm.
they have all of these things. I
Hmm.
was like, no, I love myself more. That's why I have the boundaries.
Yeah. And my boundaries also make it so that I like my savings account.
Well, and so that I love them. Right.
Right. Uh,
I need to love myself so that I can love you.
100%.
And so if I'm not setting boundaries and loving myself, then that means so what I found was that I would then react harshly towards my mom when she frustrated me.
Mm,
And that had an impact on our relationship.
definitely. It always does.
Mhm.
So when people set boundaries, it does create upheaval. So just FYI to whoever who's listening to this episode, when you set boundaries, some people aren't going to like it. They're going to call you difficult. They're going to say that you're impossible. They're going to be like, but why? I like taking from you. Like, what? So, no, you're going to be like, no, I love myself enough to set these boundaries and be prepared for the battle that's coming because it is. It's
Yeah.
coming from somewhere. It's coming from your business. It's coming from people in your personal life, one or the other, or both. So
Yep.
when you set those boundaries, just know that, hey, there's some fallout coming and that's okay. But the beautiful part is when we are persistent with our boundaries, and they're the right boundaries, by the way, they're the right ones, the universe will shift with us. You just
Okay.
have to give it time. You have to hold the boundary long enough for things to shift into your favor.
100% true.
And that's the part where people get caught up. They are so fear-minded that they can't move past that awkward stage.
Yep. Or they give up. They're not disciplined. They're not holding it long enough. They're
Hmm.
like, "Oh, this is too much work to hold it."
Hmm.
Right? And they get complacent or lazy. And it's like, no, just hold on. Just hold on to that a little bit longer. Because
Hmm.
what humans are designed to do is to test boundaries. We're
Right.
explorers, we're adventurers, we're gatherers, we're all of these things. So we're designed to test boundaries.
Mm.
And the universe, God, spirit, whatever, is also going to test our boundaries. Like, okay, you set that boundary. Are you sure? How tough are you sure you want that boundary? I'm going to test it to make sure that you really want that boundary. So you kind of just have to hold firm and be like, yes, this is what I really want.
You do. So, what I teach my clients is that you have to see the carrot on the other side. Otherwise, you're not going to hold the boundary. You're not going to stick it out through the shitstorm. So, what is the carrot on the other side? And
For
this
me.
is, well, just for anybody in general, this is what you have to look at.
Yeah.
If you're stuck on right now in this moment, you're not going to be thinking about the
Mhm.
benefits of holding that boundary. You're not going to be thinking about the beautiful carrot on the other side.
Yep.
You're only going to be thinking about how uncomfortable this is, how much it sucks, or whatever the thought process is, right?
Right.
So I always remind myself of when I'm going through a challenging time, i.e., today, what is the carrot on the other side of this? Why
Yeah.
am I allowing myself to go through this process? What is that carrot? And any given day, it can be a different carrot, right? So
Mhm.
We just really have to identify for ourselves and open up our thinking enough to see the potential carrot that we're seeing on the other side in the exchange, right? There
Yeah,
has to be an exchange.
yeah,
So when we're speaking about setting our boundaries as an act of self-love, if you set those boundaries, could you potentially get to a place where you're making more money but doing it more aligned and peacefully, maybe more fulfilled? If if inner peace isn't your jam, how about fulfillment? Like,
yeah,
what about the thought of, okay, is it possible for me to make more money and have more fulfillment? Yes, the answer is yes. All things are possible.
absolutely. Finding the right business partners make it more fulfilling and makes the money flow more freely, which makes it more peaceful, right? Um, when you're in flow or in love with your money relationships, those are going to start coming in more freely. They're going to feel more natural. It's going to feel more organic. Therefore, it feels easier
Mm,
because you're not trying to sell something. It just naturally comes together,
mhm.
right? For me, there's a sense of pushing against something when I'm trying to sell,
Okay.
right? Whereas if I meet somebody and it clicks and there's a financial benefit,
Hmm.
there's a financial gain, it just feels so much better.
Right.
It just flows better and then the money comes in easier.
Understood. I don't force things in that realm. It's
But there's a lot of people
no.
out there that do. They're out there to sell and to, convince somebody that this is the right thing for you and you need to buy my product
Mm,
versus somebody else's instead of feeling into the energy, sensing the energy, looking at the beliefs and the values and the alignment of the two sides to find the flow and the natural connection to it or
hmm.
lack of connection. I'd be like, oh, okay, I don't see the connection here. I don't feel the natural flow with this one. So we're just going to let this go and leave the opportunities open, right? If we take something in that's not in flow, then we
Hmm.
just close the door to something that is.
Yeah, it can be a disaster. So I always check in with my intuition when I'm having conversations with people that are looking at maybe becoming a private client or joining my mastermind group. And if it doesn't feel like the right connection, I won't entertain it. I just won't. Like, I don't live in that scarcity mindset, so I won't entertain it. I'm not going to sacrifice my inner health just for, oh, I can go make some money off of this person. Like, no, 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 not
Yeah.
going to happen. So there's a word that you have thrown around,
Yeah.
and I want to bring that word into the conversation because it's quite a fun word.
Yeah.
Um, we should probably wrap up here pretty quick, but
Okay.
the word is taconomics.
Economic. Yes. It is a
Now,
good.
tell me what this word means.
So, I have developed a taco recipe to help reclaim and re-identify our relationships with money. And so it's kind of a heavy, right? Nobody enjoys talking about the heavy subjects of money or the debts and the traumas or the, conditioning. And so the taco recipe just kind of brings some fun and lightness to it and, you know, opens things up on a from an easy perspective and
Okay.
versus, hey, have you been through a bankruptcy? Let's talk about the emotions and the experiences and the trauma that you're still holding. You know what? Let's talk about tacos and let's talk about flow and abundance and what ingredients you want to put in your money relationships. And let's figure out what you're working with now.
Hmm.
Let's scratch out the ingredients that you don't want to use anymore and let's replace them with the ones. with the ingredients that you want to use. Because just
Mm,
like tacos, the reason why I love tacos and the reason why this works so well is because the way you can make a taco is completely unlimited.
mm, I like that.
Breakfast, lunch, dinner, dessert, vegan, beef, lettuce wraps, whatever you want, you can
Hmm.
create a taco however you want to take it, right? And growing up, like my mom would create a whole buffet and then you just go up and you make your own tacos. Because some people like cheese, some people like guacamole with no cheese, whatever it is. Well, it's the same thing with our relationships, including money. We get to
Mm,
create those relationships however we want to. We get to put
hey.
whatever ingredients we want in our relationship and scale can, use our relationships to figure out that taco, right? Some
Mm,
people use communication as the foundation. Some people use security as the foundation to the taco, the tortilla part of the taco, right? Some people use collaboration for that foundation. And that's the beautiful thing. You can create it however you want.
I love that.
So being able, and there's a really magical neuroscience thing that happens when you write the word down yourself, you scratch it out, and you replace it with what you want to replace it with.
Mm,
And that's usually when I see the energetic shift
hmm.
because that pattern has now been broken in such a
Mm,
simple way, in
I
such a
love it.
confrontational type of way.
I love it. You are bringing fun to an incredibly challenging topic.
Yeah.
Uh, it's wonderful. So thank you for explaining because I was like, don't tell me what this word means. I want to learn when we're doing the interview so I can learn on the spot. Like, I don't want to ruin it.
Yeah. Don't ruin the surprise.
Don't ruin the surprise. It's a beautiful surprise because we need to bring more fun to the money topic. We need to bring a lighter energy to that space. And I really love that your taconomics helps us to do that.
Thank you. When I was looking at my leadership, my relationship with my personal leadership and how I wanted to lead,
Hmm.
I was like, you know what? Why can't fun and playfulness be part of leadership?
Oh, it should be.
Exactly. So let's have fun with it. Let's, personal development and personal growth and ascension and all of those things don't have to be super heavy and confrontational. Let's find
Mm.
some ways to do it in a fun way so that the pill goes down a little easier.
Yeah, definitely. I love that. So the wild, crazy, deep inner work that I've been doing with my 12-year-old self who was sex trafficked day of and day after, I bring in fun where I can and when I can. Like,
Mm.
there's a lot of not fun parts of this process, and they'll become more fun over time, right? So, just this weekend, I started playing a different game on my phone. And for the longest time, I didn't give myself permission to play a game on my phone because I was in a massive growth phase in my business. And I just knew that I needed to stay focused, like incredibly focused, right? It was appropriate for the time. And
Hmm.
then maybe about a year ago, I was like, oh, okay, I'll give myself permission to play a game on my phone. And I found a game and I was having fun with it. And there was no time commitment to it. I could sit down and play it for 30 minutes and be done. So this weekend, I just kept seeing this game flash on my Facebook ads, and I was like, I should go play that. And there was really, really, really deep, unfun parts that I needed to go and explore with my 12-year-old self. But in the midst of that, we had fun too. Like
Yeah.
this new game was a ton of fun, and it was like, okay, awesome, great. Like, let's have some fun and cry and have some fun and then cry some more and have some fun and cry some more. Right? Yep,
Yeah,
totally.
that lightens it up just a little bit and kind of gives your emotions and your mindset and that relationship that you're really building with your 12-year-old a
Hmm.
little bit of a break,
It does.
right? And the fun connection and the connecting in it just in a lighter way and I think that's really important.
Hmm. Totally. Fun is my middle name, so I'm glad that it is aligned for me to do this part with my 12-year-old self. She's allowing a little bit more fun right now. It's like, thank God, because fun is my middle name.
Yes.
Like, I'm addicted to inner peace, joy, fulfillment. So, joy is part of my fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it takes an incredible amount of patience to sit with my 12-year-old self and not have as much fun as what I'm used to.
Yeah.
But I know it's worth it. Again, the carrot on the other side.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. And what
Well,
is that carrot? It is freedom. It is complete freedom from this nonsense. It is complete freedom from any mental, emotional fallout around the sex trafficking. So, hello, come on. Is it worth it? Fuck yeah. That's a big fuck yeah. It's worth it.
absolutely. It's totally worth it. Yeah, I always recommend my clients to have some sort of visual somewhere in their peripheral vision or on their laptop of what it is that is the carrot on the other side. That way they have a constant reminder of what it is that they're working for, that they're aiming for.
Yeah. Why am I doing this?
Yeah. Yeah, some people call it a vision board. Sometimes I call it a confidence board or an achievement board or, just if it's a house or a lake house or whatever it is, just have that picture up there
Mm,
so that you know why you're doing the work.
yeah.
But a lot of people get pushed off. We kind of brushed up on this earlier. They get pushed off by the amount of work. Or they're like, "Oh, I just realized how much work I need." And they see this big old huge mountain ahead of them and
Hmm.
they get intimidated and then they're like, I'm not ready for that. Okay, well, let's not look at the whole mountain. Let's just look at the base of the mountain and the first step that we need to take.
Exactly. It is daily steps, you guys. Even in business, right? It doesn't matter what mountain we're facing. It's all about the daily steps.
Yeah, and let's take
So,
some tacos with us while we're on.
heck yeah. Yes, girl. Come on.
Yeah.
All right. This has been fun. It's been awesome. Is there
Yeah.
any closing remark that you would love to share with the audience? Just one or two lines.
Remember you.
Mm,
Remember who you are at your core, at your essence, aside from what people have told you that you are.
mm. Enough said. Remember you, you guys. Come on. This journey that we're on as business owners is challenging enough. Let's make it a little bit easier on ourselves. Remember who you are. Remember the core essence of who you are. Remember the most wonderful parts of you. Give yourself permission to step into that no matter what shit you've done, no matter what you've gotten in trouble for, no matter what you've done wrong. Let's step in to the pure essence of who you are, of who we are, and let's start getting this thing right. Meaning, let's have business, let's make a shit ton of money, and let's do it fulfilled.
And let's have fun doing it.
Yes.
You gotta know we're creating our business on our own for ourselves. Let's have fun. Business does not have to be so serious.
Heck yeah. That's awesome. Well, Wendy, thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. We will share all of your social links and website in the description. What is one way that people can reach out to you?
You can text me at 844-735-6090 or call me.
Yay, awesome. She's brave enough to get out her phone number. Take advantage of it, you guys. Thank you so much, Wendy. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for having me on. You're such a beautiful soul. I love being on
Thank
here.
you. Thank you. It has been wonderful. All right, you guys. I hope you have enjoyed this very wonderful, fun, interesting, and maybe triggering conversation. So if you're triggered, reach out to myself or Wendy and we'll help you.
Get
We'll help
untriggered.
you. Exactly. All right, you guys, until next time, have a great one. Thank you for tuning in to the Wealthy Mind podcast. Please be sure to download the Wealthy Mind app today and make sure to support your local Dress for Success.